Hello, welcome or welcome back to the channel, ALK Guidance, my little corner of the internet. So today I was inspired to read something from last November. This was a very hard moment in my life. This was 26th of November 2025. I was laying in my ex's bed while he was telling me everything that I have written down. So I've written down what he made me feel in that moment, because he was yelling at me all these nasty words. So this is how I was thinking, while also thinking transcendentally, like, I will write down how I feel in this moment, what he's telling me, how I should feel, who I am to him, or how he sees me, while simultaneously thinking of, that's not me, that's just your opinion. And narcissistic relationships are just like that. People gaslight you into believing you are less than. We get all these, like Stockholm syndromes and different anxiety reactions from our environments. So our brains usually go into these survival modes, right? And this was my brain in full-on survival mode. And this is also how I kind of am now able to prove what I was going through, because I was able to have this self-talk, right? So I wrote on a little piece of paper. If you are an OG, you're probably gonna remember back in February or March, when I started frequently posting, the video is called A Letter to Self. So this is another one of those letters to self from the past relationship. It was a year-long on and off relationship that was very focused on spirituality and making me believe that I was meant to go through this. So this is what I was going through, guys. This is how I felt. So I wrote it down. It's my fault I got abandoned. It's my unworthiness that let my heart get broken again. It's me that can't stand without an axis. It's my fault I'm not whole yet. It's my fault because I am a selfish bitch that doesn't actually deserve love at all. I don't know how to love a man, how to respect him, because I have betrayed myself. I let myself down. I broke my own heart. Nobody did that for me. I did it to myself because I enjoy pain. I enjoy suffering and reliving my trauma. It feeds me and gives me power. That's why I keep manifesting it. I deserve trauma being triggered. I deserve all the fault, pain, and misery, because I, in this life, caused nothing but misery. And therefore, I deserve nothing. I don't deserve food, I don't deserve love, because I'm just put on this planet to be left, and that's my karma for this life. I am alone. So that's how I felt, right? At the time. That's how the person made me feel at the time. He made me feel completely unworthy of love, completely abandoned and brokenhearted. He made me completely miserable and feeling like I deserve all the trauma that's being put on me, right? So I was suffering this pretty much from October through November, December, and then early January. It just inflated into domestic violence. It felt like I was being stuck in a cage with a gorilla. Mind you, he used to do amateur professional fighting. So me not being physically active for the past 5 years, unless it's cycling, I was up against a whole demon embodied with this human power of muscle that completely shattered my whole body. Not so much physically as it did energetically, because I disassociated so much. I didn't really feel pain. I felt so much adrenaline that after a couple of months I started noticing that I haven't fully healed. And he even mocked me like a few days after he beat me up, like, oh, you heal fast. And it was easier to survive just being quiet and taking everything that was, you know, cast at me. And even though I am quite far along in my journey, and even though I have had experiences with narcissistic relationships, I made it out in a year. But still, the situation has gone to court. That's why I don't want to, you know, talk about it too much, unless it's processing and healing in front of you guys, so you can see how far I've come in understanding all of these entities that are attached to people. Because what happens with most of us going through stuff like this is the fact that these entities see the light within us and they just want to take it for themselves, feed off of it. It gives them so much food, because the darkness is, it just absorbs all the light, and they leave you empty. They empty out your solar plexus, most likely, first and foremost, which is your confidence, your assertiveness, especially if you're women watching this. That's where they target us the most, but they do sit in our heart centers, and they skew our perception because of either love bombing or telling us what we want to hear, giving us the feeling of being taken care of, or that, you know, the person has a plan. Even if you're a male that has gone through this, just, you know, reverse the roles as needed. These types of people really try their best to have us energetically embedded, like have them embedded in our DNA, our energetic DNA. So that's what happens. Also, what always tries to manifest through these attachments is destiny swapping. So when an entity of such demonic presence finds you, bombs you with attention, love, and everything you never had, and because they recognize that you don't invest in yourself as much as you would deserve, but they will also show you in so many ways that yes, you do deserve to be with me, but under these conditions, otherwise you're undeserving. And if you don't fulfill the conditions of the demon, your light will be sucked out even faster. So what starts happening is survival, right? Survival of the energetically fittest. Many people unalive themselves. Many people think about unaliving themselves, and I've been there a few times in my life where, side note, side quest, my uncle unalived himself when I was 8. So my whole life went down a certain trajectory because my mother pretty much only had a connection with him besides her kids, right? So it was like her little brother passing away when she was, how old was my mom? I guess like 35-ish, but no, 38. But my uncle was 26 at the time, and he was just such a lyran light, and now I can recognize those soul codes. But what I'm trying to say is that the many times I felt like unaliving myself, something always stops me. But first few times what stopped me was actually my uncle in spirit, because every time I was put in front of this situation of my light being so depleted, I cannot see forward or feel deserving of staying alive, I think about my mom and how I'm here for her, and I'm here to guide her, and I'm here to support her in many different ways. And I cannot go down the same road of giving up because I'm much stronger than my uncle was. And what I had to acknowledge scientifically was that yes, depression is passed along the line of, you know, my mother's ancestry, and a lot of us struggle with it internally, and OCD and just these different levels of sensitivity, right? So us, the lights of the world, the rainbows of the world, we were put here to fight these demons. We were put here to expose these demons and guide other light beings towards understanding what's going on when these things happen. So sometimes we don't really realize how fast we lose ourselves to a cause or to an idea of something spiritual. And lately, because we are living in a very fast information type of an era, this is our timeline, a lot of people can also gaslight you with information that you are interested in. So what happened in my case was, I'm very interested in minerals, right? I have been since I know about myself, since I can remember. I've been picking up different rocks. I have a huge rock collection. You just cannot see it. I have boxes of rocks, and I could probably build a house by now, but well, it's not that bad. Not yet. If I had a house, I would probably have enough rocks to build a house next to it, just because I would have the space to put my rocks there. But I've moved a lot, so I know what it's like moving all your rocks or leaving your rocks at your ex's house, so I'm not doing that again. I still miss my volcanic rocks. Yeah, but we are put here on this planet to realize that the intent behind each and every one of us interacting is a binary system. So by binary system, I mean we have good people and we have bad people. People with good intentions and people with bad intentions. Even if people with good intentions do bad stuff per se, it's more like a learning curve. But when a person with a negative intention fucks up, their soul was already trapped at that point. It was already rainbow trapped in darkness. And that's something I have seen in my visions with my last ex, because I'm able to see certain things most humans cannot. And I saw, it looked like as if you would have melted titanium and make it translucent. So it's just these rainbow colors, right? Mostly pink and green, but it did have the other colors as well. Sorry. And then it was trapped, like the bone, inside the bone there was rainbow, but the bone itself was darkness. So there are a lot of negatively intentioned vessels floating around this space rock. A lot of aliens, a lot of just the weirdest wasp came and not the ones that are building a nest here, but she came to say hello. Wasps actually represent confidence spiritually as a spirit animal. So fear not, collective. Sometimes when we have these responses out of our senses, out of our bodies, out of our energetic checkpoints and centers, our bodies are constantly telling us how much can we take, how much can we process, and how much will be taking a longer time to process. So when we start feeling anxiety, when we start feeling what I wrote down, that process has begun a lot prior to that. It goes way back into the childhood of each and every person. My theory is that everybody is born as the rainbow. So we have all these, you know, the chakra system aligned, and then as we move through life, it gets, you know, crushed or beaten up or suppressed or just unexpressed in general. And as we grow older and our brains develop and our hormonal systems kind of balance themselves out and we gain experiences, our bodies are constantly telling us what's good and what's bad for us, or giving us intuition calls about the intent. So sometimes when we have many voices inside our heads, and a lot of them are negative, I think that's a very specific point to check in with yourself, write down these emotions as they pass through you, even if it's horrible stuff that I would never read again. I just needed to read it for you because I am never alone. I'm not miserable, you know, I never was. That's just what I, without boundaries, I, without a spiritual spine that's aligned, me outside of the masculine and feminine balance, was thinking and accepting as well. So when we start accepting negative treatment, whether it be intellectual or mental, whether it be physical or spiritual even, our bodies always sense, because we are all working on an energetic level, right? We're all working from a field of electromagnetic fields. As does the earth, so do we. And everything around us has some sort of electromagnetic field, right? Even inanimate objects are particles of energy, never touching. So our physical reality is way less complex if we just are able to tune into ourselves. And that is one of the hardest things to do when you're in a relationship like that, because you're so used to lending your ear, your heart, your mind, your soul, your everything, and you don't have the energy to think for yourself. You don't have the energy to fight for yourself, or to, you know, feed yourself or bathe yourself. And those are all, to me, in my opinion, entity attachments, right? Because the destiny swappers will always do that. They see the light, they will try to suck it out of you, pretend it's theirs, that they somehow magically found it, or it has always been there, and they'll start gaslighting you that you were always the bad guy, or you were never this, or you were never important, or you will never be important. And that's so not fucking true. Because just the mere fact that somebody takes their fucking time out of their life to ruin yours says you have power over them. And what they like to do is have power over you, have power over your thoughts, have power over your actions, meaning, you know, not entering the next stage of yourself, or a new relationship or a new job or something that you feel it's good for you. These types of people will always find a reason as to why not. And as you will be looking for reasons as to why yes, nothing you say, do, or think will ever be right or good enough or considered. And when a person with these human emotions isn't considered, we all understand that we are not being considered, yet we are still working from that space, that heart space, that light space of just trying to be a rainbow again, you know, just be able to express love, to receive love, to speak out, sing like the birds on the trees, and just, you know, flow with life. These people come in infested with so many entities that have the sole purpose of making other people's lives miserable, and that's what they feed on. That's food for them. Whereas for us, the food is in the love, right? That's why we get depleted, because we're not being fed, we're just being fed on, and eventually hopefully fed up. I feel like I should take some cards. I don't know. Let's expand a little bit. Put it in the comments if you have ever dealt with somebody like this. True north, of course. Stay true to yourself. See, the compass and the snake, that's something that is within us all. Because a lot of us are living in these karmic cycles and spirals, because we have incarnated to get rid of these karmas, right? To balance them out. And when we start balancing our karmic selves out and healing and working on ourselves, drinking more water, eating food that's proper for your digestion and your skin or your allergies or whatever, taking out the necessary trash, taking a walk, I wanted to say, but yeah, I guess taking out the trash could be an energetic release for a lot of you. Sometimes the trash takes itself out. If it doesn't, you're going to have to be so strong. But this True North card is telling me that a lot of us come, incarnate, and for 30 plus years we're able to live in our South Node, so our past lives. And what we're doing is cycling and spiraling back and forth through our ascensions, right? We are constantly timeline jumping to fix, and there's this energy of time travelers and quantum leapers, which is just basically you collapsing timelines and being like, okay, this from my childhood needs healing, because apparently it doesn't work when it comes to how I communicate in relationships, right? Because I always go against men that are offended by my confidence, which in turn makes me realize, okay, yes, they are insecure or more insecure than me, but I'm also a mirror, which means you may project, but I am also that reflection, that not that I'm just capable of self-reflecting, I'm able to reflect so hard to see that I am part of these projections, I am part of this karma. It always takes two to tango. A lot of us have, you know, signed contracts before incarnating. We have tasks, we have missions, we have paths to take, and the path to take is always shown in your North Node or True North. So as long as you keep on your path, as long as you keep following your mission, whatever it is, you're going to be able to transcend these primal instincts with the snake here, and also gain Kundalini awakenings. But through these awakenings, you have to be centered, otherwise we get ungrounded and we might have a problem of coming down from, you know, spiritual narcissism, let's say, or that ego that can happen sometimes when we traverse so many planes of existence and consciousness, and we're so in and out of, you know, our channels, that we sometimes forget that we are on earth and we do need to touch grass. We do need to lay on Mother Gaia and look up at these different fractals that she has presented us with, because our true nature is staying true to ourselves, right? Therefore, in my case, I haven't worked out in years. I haven't been on a proper hike in years because I have had all these damages done to me, because I used to train martial arts as well. So now it's just more pain and more work, and I need to go slower if I want to get the routine back first, and then, you know, go after new goals and higher standards of existence, or, you know, larger mountains. And that can be, you know, metaphorically or physically for some of you, but staying true to that inner compass is sometimes hard, because we are living in the material world from which we do need to detach from. Because if we are looking from a universal soul perspective, everything here is only to pass, right? Even all of your hard times, hardships, anything that you're going through and still have certain effects from it, even though you are outside of it maybe, or even if you're just beginning to think to get outside of a situation that your body's telling you that it's not for you, I'm sending you so much strength, because I know you're all going to need it. Because we are currently sitting or standing at this portal. It's like a gate of so many people waking up to their true north, 2727 on the timer, waking up to why they are here. And what that includes is a lot of people falling away, a lot of situations ending, a lot of what may feel like negative communications, but it's this tension, this compression that needs to happen, that may either explode or go into expansion. And it's up to you as much as it's up to the projection or the mirroring of the person or situation standing in front of you. Full moon, okay. Everybody, yeah, please shut up. So full moon, what I'm getting is, if you're watching this in a timely manner, from this new moon to the next full moon is going to be one of the most important new emotional cycles for you to take, especially if you have been dealing with these entities that we have talked about. Harvest the fruits of your hard work. So if you are staying true to yourself on this cycle, it's going to become a full circle. You're going to stop cycling around these lunar axes that are happening throughout the whole year. So if you're watching this in a timely manner, this new moon in Cancer, it's like Cancer season, new moon in Cancer. It's this lunar new beginning, even though it's not a lunar new year. It's this very specific point where everybody's emotions kind of reset. That's also why in the Northern Hemisphere, when it's summertime, even though a lot of us are, you know, feeling more outgoing and free-spirited and powered by the sun, we have a lot of energy to do, there's a lot of tension before a new moon in Cancer happens, right? Because moon is Cancer's ruling planet. Therefore, it's a new lunar cycle of going from Cancer to Cancer, right? Again. So it's very important for these resets. And prior to the new moon in Cancer, we all feel certain tensions of we need to let go of some things or some emotions because we already feel that the gate is approaching. And we have already passed it, and as I'm filming this, so happy new moon in Cancer. I feel like this next few months are going to be wild and interesting around the world and within people. So if you have been feeling like you need a reset, just like a hard reset, just like, have you tried turning your router on and off? Maybe that'll help. So I'm getting that a lot of you just need to turn your brain off. You need to find a way or a place or something that helps you turn off your brain. It could be maybe reading a book, watching a fireplace or a bonfire or a candle, or going into nature and just observing your surroundings, taking in anything other than brand names and logos and anything like that. So just pure nature. It will reset all of your senses and all of your emotions, because that's how we are as humans, kind of wired. We need that. We don't need these white walls. We don't need these blue couches, right? That's why because when I want to channel, I want to have an open window so I can see, so I can look at something that's not this ring light, right? Because my eyes are super sensitive from a very young age, and I'm also auditory deficient, so my senses, my vision, my hearing, my scent, you know, my smell, sense of smelling and touching and tasting, are there a bit more heightened. So I need to look at the trees so I can give you a message. I need to see that flow, the unpredictable flow of how the wind moves a birch tree's leaves, right? And then I need to look at the clouds, because every time I look, they're a bit differently shaped, and it can get to scrying, but most of the time I'm just resetting my visuals, because this light is banging my eyes really hard, and they get dry. And yeah, it's really important for us humans to be surrounded by, you know, I don't think you can see, but I have a lot of plants here and a lot of minerals, and a lot of these patterns are natural, they are fractal, they are the sequences that plants and minerals and natural environment has is something that our soul connects to. But most of the time our bodies connect to these bitches, and we cannot be in connection or in balance within ourselves if there's lights constantly, you know, burning our eyes, and we don't take the time to go outside to look at the sun. It's very important, especially if you are rebuilding your solar plexus, the vitamin D, sun exposure, laying on a blanket on the grass, just full surrender, like I did a few weeks ago. I just cried into Mother Earth because I needed that, you know, while watching linden seeds drop like golden rain. So it helped me immensely. I was even able to motivate myself afterwards a lot better, and guide myself a lot better. I even read a few pages of a book that I haven't picked up in a year at least, if not more, that I really want to finish, because it's about the dreaming brain. And once we are able to reset our senses and tone them down or detach from the material world and return to what's natural to us, or what we have been doing as children, it really helps us bring back that joy and remind us why we have had to take this path, because it was only to return to that innocent space within us, right, where we go on a little, let's say I used to go on like 4.5 hour hikes just up and then 3.5 hours down, and now I can't even walk for 30 minutes in a nearby forest. Like, the fuck. You know, it breaks you down. It breaks your inner child down, in my case, because I used to run uphill. I used to always be the first or the second if the teacher had to be first, because I was small. But I'm an Aries, I have to be first, because I had this OCD. If I walked behind a person, I had to walk exactly where they walked. So I was battling my OCD without knowing I had OCD for the next 10 years, while simultaneously finding ways through what I love doing, which is being in nature, hiking, collecting rocks, climbing, whatever, which is through what I love doing. It helps me chill down these mental illness flare-ups, right? So when I was little, I used to had to squeeze my elbows and my knees really, really tight and then extend them. And that felt, I don't know, it hit my dopamine centers, I guess. And I had all these tics that I'm trying to not show you, because I'm just gonna start ticking, but you wouldn't recognize me. And collectively, that's the same thing that's going to happen. You being in your true north is going to help you desensitize and get all of those negative soul fragments off of you and build yourself back up into who you want to be, not who you used to be, but returning to that inner self, inner child, and aligning with the needs of what you needed as a 5-year-old boy or a girl, what you needed as an 8-year-old or a 10-year-old or a 13-year-old when you got your first period, or when you were 18 years old, when your high school sweetheart broke your heart or something like that. You know, we have to go back into those spaces and ask ourselves, what did I need at that time that I couldn't communicate or express or ask for? And where does that inability to express come from? Where does the suppression of the ability to express come from? And we have to retrace back so many times until we figure it out within ourselves on our own, well, with the help of others, of course, sometimes, but just in my personal experience, I've always been alone in these processes, because I had to walk the path so you can see where to go, kind of thing, right? I'm not, I always enjoyed my own company, so I never had a problem with playing alone or making stuff up or in play, you know. But I always missed somebody playing along so I could learn how to play along with others. And now I feel as an adult like I don't, not that I just don't want to, but I don't know how to sometimes be, you know, reserved or feminine and a bit more submissive to certain situations, or quiet, even when I think complete opposite. I've always just been this fireball of course people are going to try to tone me the fuck down, right? And if that has happened to you, it's because we were living in our south nodes, we were living in resolving the karma. But now on this new cycle, yeah, the last two cards, Spells and rituals bring magic and self-care together, and movement. Inspiration is drawn to motion. And there's a bunch of flowers growing out of it. And you are going to be able to grow from your rituals. So taking a bath, even if you're a guy, sometimes guys need a bubble bath too. And to put shower gel intently on your body while caressing or massaging yourself, just to feel yourself in your body, or for your body to feel like it's being nurtured and loved and taken care of, as if you would simulate how somebody else is touching you and where is your comfort zone of said touches. Sometimes we need to remind our bodies that we are safe, right? We have different tricks that can help us click out of fear, and different techniques to help us stay on path and not forget where we came from or where we're going, because the path is still the same. The compass is always showing north for you, collective. And also your mind will be able to grow, because the flowers on this movement card is coming out of this instead of this person's head, and the booty cheeks are turned toward us. So the more you turn into yourself, the more you turn away from people and show them your booty cheeks, the more your mind is able to grow within your new environments. Because the more you take care of yourself, the more love you give to yourself through, let's say, writing the exact opposite of this, what I wrote, in a very loving manner, and repeating that. That is also a ritual, that is also a spell that you can do for yourself, because everything we think, speak, or write is kind of like a sigil, an energetic imprint that the universe understands without needing to know any language, because it's light language, and so is self-care. The more you care for yourself, the more you're going to be able to grow and bloom and have healthy stems and healthy roots and healthy leaves. Healthy leaves meaning you're going to be able to receive the solar energy, not just physically through sun hitting your skin, but metaphorically as well. You're going to be able to absorb light again, because you are so used to absorbing darkness that you may feel like you're not deserving of it. But you're so deserving, collective. You're so deserving to take a 10-minute walk. It doesn't have to be a 10-kilometer run. It can be just 10 minutes, or up to your abilities, or to the next bench, and then I will walk to the next bench, and then I will lightly jog to the next. Because what we're doing here, we're slowly implementing healthier, not just boundaries, but healthier systems to cope, right? So maybe you have already gone into fitness, and now there's another branch that needs attention, right? Some things need to be cut off, so the energy goes into the healthy leaves and the roots, or the blooming process. But we are perennials, right? We are these plants, just like the trees are. As they have a crown, we have a crown, and it's composed of all of these beautiful sequences and random spots, or hair, or color, or discoloration, or just our proportions are so sacred, because we are all made in the eye of God, right? And everything natural around us is. As long as you stay in your movement of growth, the more you put into yourself, the more you pour into different new ways of taking care of you as a soul, as the heart, as the light, as the child of the universe, the more you're able to also differentiate not just the bad thoughts, but also the bad people, the negative intentions, the negative, yeah, anything negative. You are ready. Make your masterpiece. If you have been waiting for a sign to start something, like filming, creating, singing, I don't know, even maybe working out, like this is your sign to do it now. After you stop this, do 10 squats. That's your beginning, right? Everybody has to start somewhere, because we are slowly rebuilding ourselves up. Even if it's your mental space and it has been beaten down by a narcissist, you need to slowly implement beautiful positive words. What you can do is take a piece of paper. Somebody doesn't want me to tell you this. My lordy Lord Jesus. Take a piece of paper, write on it an affirmation that you just resonate with, something that you would like to manifest more into your life. Maybe I am never alone, or I am the most beautiful girl in the world. And just as I said that, I got a high pitch ringing in my right ear. And if you stick that on a mirror and say it to yourself every morning, or every other morning, or just one morning a week, you will be starting to see the results of you calling in all of your other dimensional selves into this one, and understanding that this is where you exist. This is where your electromagnetic current runs through your body. So it's highly important that sometimes we restrain ourselves from touching or coming near certain people that have that negative electromagnetic field that sucks up energy from us, because a lot of us are walking around with open hearts, with open minds, and very unrooted. So what happens is we quickly fall onto the traps of, oh, this man or this woman will bring me the stability that I need, or oh, my heart will heal through this. But it's just another karmic lesson, because we still haven't learned to recognize or observe the people as we are talking. So that's what happened to me quite recently. I fell out with a friend, just, I feel like forever, because another friend told me that she was rolling her eyes as I was trying to speak about my very traumatic trauma. And that also in turn turned into me crying on the balcony, and that person just opening the balcony door and saying, I need more air. Like I wasn't completely, trying to not wake anybody up because I'm crying, and obviously just hyperventilating and very upset because I felt very alone. And that just confirmed what I have been sensing, but then also I needed my third friend, right, to tell me what she has observed when I was looking away, because anytime I explain something or I fall into a memory or visions, I cannot focus on you, right? So I cannot look you in the eyes, because when I look a person in the eyes, I feel what they're feeling, and the eyes are truly the windows of the soul. So when I'm explaining something, I get distracted by people's emotions or energies. That's why I look away, and that's also why I don't notice the reactions of people that I feel are close to me, which is just retarded and ridiculous from that person, because not that I need anything, but when you accommodate somebody for days on, like they're a 4-year-old toddler, I'm dying.